We said $200,000 in December of 2024. And yes, I still think it's in play. What we will need in order for that to happen is to see this strong acceleration of ETF flows that I predict will happen. I think we could get $10 to $20 billion in flows in Q4 alone. If we see that and reasonable corporate and government buying, I think 200,000 is a reach, but still very much possible by the end of the year. Yeah, I don't think it's Bitcoin pulling it along. In fact, based on the conversations I'm having with financial advisors and institutions, they've now realized that there are two major trades in crypto. There's Bitcoin as digital gold, and there's Ethereum and Solana as platform for stablecoin and tokenization. I'll say with my TradFi audience, that stablecoin and tokenization story is almost stronger than the Bitcoin story alone. Certainly on a relative market cap perspective, I think we're going to see very strong flows into Ethereum ETFs. I think we may see extremely strong throws if we see Solana ETPs launch in the next few weeks, which I expect. Wall Street is waking up to this stablecoin and tokenization idea. I don't think it's Bitcoin only. We now have two big stories in crypto, and that makes the whole space much stronger.
Bitcoin hitting a record high on Monday. Now, if you've been on the fence, our next guest says now is the time to jump in to the crypto game, and he's here to tell us how to play it, either directly or indirectly. Bob, the Bitcoin train has caught a lot of attention because of those record highs, but would you be using Bitcoin itself to take that view of higher crypto or some other trade?
Great to see you again, Dom. So I really like Coinbase right here, Dom, and I think that Bitcoin's got a really good chance to run much higher into the end of the year. There's been a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of bullish sentiment coming into Bitcoin, and the best vehicle to use to take advantage of Bitcoin, if other than ETFs, is probably Coinbase. And you know, Coinbase has come off of a recent high and it's pulled back a little bit. I think this is a good opportunity to buy the dip.
All right, so if you're going to buy the dip with Coinbase, it's easy enough to mechanically just go and buy shares of Coinbase. You often look at some option strategies because they are more, at least, risk manageable around some of your kind of profit and loss expectations. What exactly would you do strategy-wise to express that view in Coinbase?
Well, I want to go with a straight call play here, Dom. And normally I might take a look at spreading the trade, but in this particular case, I'm looking to go out to about December. The 430 call, which is about $50 above the current price of Coinbase. This is about 8 to 9% of the price of the stock. Now, why am I going out to December? I'm looking out to December because this includes an earnings period as well, too, at the end of October. Where the earnings move is expected to be about $68 to $70 for Coinbase. And if that stock moves at least that much to the upside, we're going to go through those old highs, and this option trade is going to be pretty profitable. That option, the 430 call, is trading at about $31 to $31 right now. It's about a 40 delta, which means it's about a 40% chance of the stock getting to that strike and maybe above it by the December expiration. So giving us about 2.5 months time to let it work. We're not in such a big rush, and of course we have that earnings play to work through it too.
All right, so if the earnings is a potential catalyst, even the fundamentals of cryptocurrencies and their trading a catalyst as well, are you comfortable just letting this ride all the way through that, or would you risk manage it between now and the end of the year?
Well, I'm always looking to manage risk, as you know, Dom. So, yes, I would probably manage the risk if the stock gets a good pop after earnings, or maybe possibly a good pop if Bitcoin takes off. You know, don't forget, the last couple of months, Bitcoin's been on a roll and went up from about 112,000 up to about 125 to new all-time highs. Coinbase rode right along with it. So I think that managing that risk is really paramount. If we get up to about 40, 50% gain on that thing, I'm going to sell some upside calls against the call, or possibly just roll it up and keep running. Momentum in this stock is extremely strong. When stock is going up and bullish to the upside, and this calls can really move.
All right.
Well, to be clear, I think both ETH and Solana are going to be extraordinarily successful. I think ETH, as you mentioned, has the leading market share in stablecoins and indeed in the tokenized space. It has huge benefits from decentralization, has huge penetration and use, massive developer network. I own a lot of ETH, and I'm very bullish on where it's going. I think what I said was Solana is the new Wall Street. By that, I meant that the architecture of Solana is designed to facilitate sort of instant transactions in the view of the beholder, right? Sort of settlement, not quite settlement, but processing within 400 milliseconds, confirmation in 2 seconds. That is the kind of speed that Wall Street needs. I think both will be successful. I think the wrong play for investors right now is to try to pick and choose a winner in the stablecoin and tokenization space. The right play is to invest broadly in that space and be happy whoever wins. One thing crypto loves to do is to go all in on one asset. It's always and only Solana. I think the easier play right now is just to hold both ETH and Solana. The space is big enough to accommodate two, and we're talking about many trillions of dollars of market opportunity. I think they'll both do really well. The thing I'd shout out for Solana is it's tiny, right? The thing we forget about Solana is it's 1/25th the size of Bitcoin. And so even a little bit of interest in Solana from traditional investors could really increase that price. You could see a doubling or a tripling of price if it becomes a favored asset amongst TradFi. That does make it unique from Ethereum, which is, of course, about 5 times bigger. Yeah, if you just look at the sort of calendar of SEC time-based approvals, you would think we are a few weeks away from potentially seeing those ETPs. I think that's going to be big in a number of ways. One, it's just an access vehicle, but two, it means that firms like Bitwise and others that are launching will be out there doing meetings with people, educating them about Solana. When I look at Solana right now, I think it's one of the best setups for a crypto asset that I've seen in my 8 years of being in this space full time. You have a wave of ETFs potentially launching. You have really strong treasury companies led by charismatic leaders that are pushing the narrative. You have the stablecoin and tokenization play that people are very excited about. When you put those three things together against an asset that, again, is only a little over $100 billion in size, that's a pretty exciting setup. So I'm very optimistic for Solana for the next few months.
That's the bull case for Solana. Are there any challenges we need to watch out for?
Yeah, sure. It's not the dominant player in this space. Again, Ethereum has a larger market share. Some people are skeptical of it because of the meme coin overhang and the view that it's oriented around that space. You know, it has historically run into technical issues. So there are always risks in every investment. But again, in 8 years, I'm not sure I've seen a setup that's as clean as this. And I'm really excited.
And shy away, or is that something they've been able to overlook?
So I think layer one thinking from institutions would do that. Layer two thinking would say that proved that it can handle the actual throughput required to do mass tokenization on chain. So I actually find it a very useful example. And as people get their hands around that and they start to see other people embrace it, I think they'll come to that realization. A story as old as time is new technologies first being used for slightly goofy things. People criticized the internet in the earlier days for its primary uses, but look where we are now. I think people will make that realization in Solana. So the initial response during the heart of the meme coin mania was to bucket Solana in that space. But I think people now realize that that was just a great proof case of the technology's throughput. I think it's gone from a negative to a positive, and I think Wall Street will realize that as well.